If you're considering a move to Cambridge, Ontario, you're probably wondering, what are the best areas within the city? Well, in today's video, we're gonna cover that. We're gonna look at 4 neighborhoods that I think are probably the best areas. And they're not the most expensive, they're not the most luxurious. I'll probably make a video on that in the future. But for this particular video, I've used the following criteria. What are the parks and activities like within the area? What is the proximity to Highway 401? What is the crime rating within the area and how that compares to Cambridge, Ontario? And also, are you able to find a decent home for around the median price? As of the recording of this video, July 21st, 2024, the median price for a home here in Cambridge, Ontario is around $750,000. So in all of these neighborhoods today, you'll be able to find a home detached within that price range. Now, before we look at the best neighborhoods, let's do a bit of a rundown of Cambridge, Ontario. And what a lot of people don't understand about the city, it's actually 3 different towns that had amalgamated way back when, and it still functions like that to this day. If we look at the map here, it's segmented into 3 different distinct areas. You have Hespeler Village in the north, right here. You have Preston, located just west. And then finally, you have Galt, located on the southern side. Now, what are the major differences between the 3 different areas? I think if I had to rank them, it would be Galt number 1, although there is a bit of crime within Galt, Ontario that you should be aware of, and that's going to be on the eastern side of Galt. West Galt, absolutely gorgeous, probably my favorite area. Eastern Galt, a little bit more crime for sure, a little bit more run down, but definitely number 1. Number 2 would be Hespeler Village, and number 3 would be Preston, Ontario. Galt, the reason it's number 1, it's absolutely stunning. Galt definitely did the best job of preserving their beautiful old buildings, beautiful churches, beautiful limestone buildings, a great incorporation of the Grand River. When I was recording this, I did have a coffee at Melville Cafe, which overlooks the Grand River. Absolutely great. They do film a lot of videos within Galt, Ontario, trying to replicate many cities within Europe. If you are watching some series on Netflix, you might be able to see some locations. If you do have a keen eye, that might actually be Galt. Looking at Hespeler Village, Hespeler is very similar to Galt, Ontario, but they didn't do as great as a job at preserving their old buildings as Galt does. Still a fairly nice downtown core, and there's certainly a lot of elevation here. There's a bit of a hill goes into the Grand River. You can do some canoeing there and some kayaking. When I was filming the drone aspects of this video, I did speak to a few locals there, and definitely canoeing is one of the outdoor activities within the area. And then of course, being in Hespeler, you are close to Highway 401, and you are on the most eastern side of the city, closest to 401. So if you are a commuter, then Hespeler might be the best option for you. And then finally, 3rd place here, we're looking at Preston, Ontario. The benefit of Preston is you are very close to Highway 401, but definitely doesn't do as great of a job incorporating the Grand River. It's not as lively as the other 2 downtown cores, and there's definitely a little bit more crime. It's a bit more seedy than the other 2 downtown cores. Moving on to the first neighborhood here, we're gonna look at Blair Road. Now, the great thing about Blair Road is it's located very close to downtown Galt. It's located right near the Grand River, so you have a lot of beautiful trails. This is the Walter Bean Trail, also part of the Grand River Trail, so you have great lookout spots within this trail. Lots of cyclists were there when I was filming this video. People walking, just enjoying their Friday. Absolutely beautiful, and you're very close to Blair Road itself, but you do feel very much secluded, especially when you are looking at, the lookout here on Grand River. If you're looking at the Morva Rose Park lookout as well, absolutely stunning. You do have a few other parks within the area. You have Morva Rose Park, Heise Park, as well as Dixon Park here at the bottom, which does have a baseball diamond, technically not part of Blair Road, but it's just on the other side. In terms of the real estate options within this area, it's going to be mostly 60s, 70s, and some newer stuff, kind of the 90s and 2000s, but the majority will be the 60s, 70s, and 80s. If we look at the first one here, this one sold in the last 30 days for around $750,000. This is a bungalow with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, with just over 1,100 square feet above grade, with a 70-foot wide frontage by 115 feet deep. So definitely a great option. Pretty well done inside. You can definitely move in. You might want to do some renovations over time. It didn't have to be, taken down to the studs or anything like that. And then of course, within this neighborhood, there's quite a bit of variation between the cheapest properties and the most expensive properties. We'll look at something a little bit more expensive. This one right here sold around $1.2 million. This one sold back in June. This one had 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,200 square feet above grade, a very unique design. This looked absolutely gorgeous inside. They were probably interior designers themselves. The landscaping here was impeccable. You have no rear neighbors, and you have a massive lot, which is 129 feet at the front by 171 feet deep. Another great benefit of living in this neighborhood is there will be no foreseeable new development just west of it. So you are very secluded. You do have the research reserve, which is over 900 acres, and it's technically part of the township of North Dumfries. So this is the end of Cambridge. I'll highlight back on the map. We'll click Cambridge, Ontario real quickly. So this area right here, as you can see on the map, this is no longer Cambridge, Ontario. This is the reserve area. So I don't believe there'll be much development within this area in the future. Also, this area right here, this is GRCA controlled Grand River Conservation Area. These are lowlands here. You won't be able to build on there because frankly, it's just marshland. And then of course you do have Langdon Hall here on the western side. Absolutely gorgeous. They do film a lot of commercials, and the funny thing is I was on Instagram the other day just scrolling through, and of course you do get some of these commercials. And what did I see in the background? Langdon Hall. Also, Drake has also shot some photos for album covers. If I can find one, I will definitely put it up right now of Drake sitting in front of the album cover. I believe he had a dog with him that day. Looking at Blair Road itself here on the map, you don't have any real shopping within that area whatsoever, but of course you're downtown Galt. You're literally a 3-4 minute drive within anywhere within Blair Road, and there you'll find everything. You're gonna find boutique shops. You're gonna find great places to have coffee, fantastic restaurants. Cambridge Mill definitely being one of the better restaurants within the area. Absolutely gorgeous, does a great job of incorporating the beautiful Grand River as it sits right alongside of it. Queen's Park, absolutely gorgeous. And Galt in and of itself, definitely my favorite downtown core, not only within Cambridge, but within the Waterloo region. Also, if you're looking for condos within the area, there is a fantastic development, which is nearly new. And that's going to be here on the western side. Google Maps hasn't even highlighted it here yet, but this is going to be Gaslight District. Absolutely fantastic condominium. It has the largest outdoor TV within Canada, so they have many events going on. Great place to watch the Stanley Cup. In terms of schools within this area, you're looking at Blair Road Public School with a rating of 5. And then when it comes to high schools, you're looking at Galt Collegiate Institute with a rating of 5.9. One thing I like to highlight in this video is many of the schools within Cambridge, Ontario are rated fairly low. I think that Kitchener and Waterloo definitely have better schools overall. And even in this video, most of the schools within the video are within that 5 to 7 range. Looking on back to the map here, we're gonna go slightly west to Westwood Village, and it's not even highlighted on the map. This is a brand new community with multiple builders currently building there. A lot of it is built up right now, just finishing up. They're putting in roadways, the asphalt being laid, just some of the last touch-ups. And then of course, they're just continuing to build in this area. And this area is going to comprise of this highlighted in pink. And the builders within this area, we're looking at Huron Creek Developments, great builder. Cachet Homes, another fantastic builder. And I think Ridgeview Homes, one of the best builders, not only within Cambridge, but frankly within Ontario. They've won multiple awards for their build quality as well as the architecture. And I think that the product that Ridgeview Homes delivers really speaks for itself. They are priced well for the product that you get. Even the entry level without any upgrades whatsoever is actually frankly quite nice. Now, when it comes to real estate options in this neighborhood, let's look at one that recently sold, and this one was built by Ridgeview Homes. This was a resale one. This one sold for around the $750,000 mark, and these townhomes here in this area are totally freehold townhomes. And a lot of times what you're going to encounter if you are looking at townhomes, not only within Cambridge, but within Ontario, you're probably going to be looking at something with a pottle fee, a parcel of tied land, or a condominium fee. And a lot of times when working with several clients, they do highlight that they do not want anything to do with a condo fee or a pottle fee. They just want totally freehold. So this is definitely an option. One of the few new developments that do have completely freehold. I believe Cachet does it as well. We're looking at over 1,500 square feet above grade, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, single car garage. And as you can see, beautiful stone facade, and the elevation is quite nice. And then of course, we can look at a little bit more expensive here. This one sold just under $850,000. And this one was built by Cachet Homes, had 4 bedrooms above grade, 2.5 bathrooms with nearly 1,900 square feet above grade. And the benefit about this one is it is an end unit. So you do have a slightly larger lot than an interior unit, and you only have to deal with one neighbor rather than 2. When it comes to this neighborhood, everything is going to be brand new. There's going to be a new school going into the neighborhood, which is going to be Westwood Public School. But for now, they'll be going to the Blair Road Public School as well as Galt Collegiate Institute for the time being until this new school is built. Another benefit is you do have multiple new parks. The newest park and largest park there has a playground, a skate park, basketball courts, a beautiful trail, a large pavilion with multiple benches, washrooms, of course, really well taken care of and absolutely brand new. And then of course, when it comes to shopping, it's going to be the same thing as Blair Road. You're going to be going just east to downtown Cambridge for all of your daily necessities. On the northern part of Galt here, we have Food Basics, if you're looking for a grocery store. And I can't stress enough how beautiful downtown Galt is. Beautiful restaurants, beautiful boutique shops, beautiful coffee. When I was filming this video, I did take a little bit of time just to have a quick call with a client actually from YouTube. And I had a coffee at Melville Cafe. They have beautiful pastries there as well as coffee, and it's right along the Grand River. Absolutely stunning. If you're looking to move here to the Waterloo region, I can certainly help you out with that. You can book a call in the first link in the description or call, text, or email. Moving on to the third neighborhood here, we're going to be going north. And this one really geared towards the commuter, because we're going to be looking at Hespeler Village, located just north of Highway 401, also the most easterly neighborhood within Cambridge, Ontario. The difference between living in Hespeler Village and living, let's say, at Little Corners here, down at the bottom of Cambridge, you know, this is going to be 20 minutes difference, right? If this is 40 minutes, let's say to get to Pearson Airport, which is roughly, depending on traffic, what you're looking at, this is going to be closer to an hour, maybe 57, 58 minutes. So that's one thing to highlight. When you are comparing different areas within Cambridge, Ontario, Cambridge is very long when it comes to the actual geographic location. So you might be better off to just look in, you know, Dune South or Pioneer Tower West. Just Google the exact travel times and what you're willing to undertake. You also have Chicopee here in the eastern side. Another benefit of Hespeler is you do have the downtown core of Hespeler, Ontario. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, very similar to Galt. Lots of boutique shops, lots of boutique restaurants. They have a beautiful condo development right along the river. They did a great job of preserving their old buildings again, which can't really be said for the city of Kitchener. Very few and far between when it comes to the older buildings. Same with Waterloo. They were torn down. Kitchener had an absolutely beautiful city hall. They did tear that down and replaced it with some awful red steel and glass building. I don't know what they were thinking at the time. When it comes to real estate options within this neighborhood, if we go back to the map here, I'll kind of describe basically the different eras of building within this area. Of course, when you're close to downtown Hespeler here, we're looking at stuff, you know, late 1800s, 1900s. And as you venture out this area right here, even this area right here, this is going to be, your 70s, 80s, and 90s, mostly 70s and 80s. And then I will highlight kind of in yellow, you're going to be looking on the eastern side here. You're looking at the 2000s for the most part, newer. So it really depends on really what you like. The older the subdivision typically, especially those 60s and 70s, you're going to have wider lots, 60 and 70 feet. On the newer subdivisions, like in the 2000s, you're probably between the 30 and 40 feet mark. And in terms of the real estate options, we'll look at this one that recently sold in the last 30 days. This one sold for just under $770,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, nearly 1,600 square feet, above grade, a 1-car garage, and parking for 3 in the driveway. And this one, you definitely move in ready. You didn't have to do any renovations whatsoever, unless of course you're very nitpicky. And then also within Hespeler Village, we'll look at something that recently sold around the $1 million mark. And this one ticks pretty much all the boxes for most people. We have a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom home with a double-car garage and parking in the driveway for 2. Concrete driveway. The front of the house was 50 feet wide by 110 feet deep. This one was built in 1987 and had just over 2,600 square feet above grade. So certainly one of the larger homes within this area. We'll go back to the map here. We'll look at some of the activities within the area. And then of course, on the northern side, we do have Hespeler Arena right here. Now you have Hespeler Arena with a few hockey rinks. You do have soccer fields and as well as a baseball diamond within the area. When it comes to other outdoor spaces, we have Bergy Hill Garden right here on the left-hand side. Woodland Park, absolutely fantastic. A huge forest just dotted right in the middle. And then of course you have Winston Boulevard Woodlot, which is located kind of here. So you definitely are always close to some sort of outdoor activity, somewhere to get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. And then of course, you are close to the Grand River, which is just located north here. When I was filming the video, I was speaking to a few other people that, yeah, they love canoeing down the Grand River, and that's probably one of the most popular outdoor activities within Hespeler. When it comes to shopping, you have basically 2 different areas that we can look at here. You have the downtown core of Hespeler, right? More boutique-like shops. And then you have this area right here on the southwestern side, closer to Highway 401. And there you have a Food Basics, McDonald's, a few convenience stores, nail salons. And then of course, if you want to go a little bit further west, you do have Zehrs Hespeler. For those of you who do not live within the area, Zehrs is very comparable to a superstore. In terms of the schools within this area, we're looking at Hespeler Public School with a rating of 6.5. And when it comes to high schools, we're looking at Jacob Hespeler Public School with a rating of 5.5. In this particular video, I haven't highlighted the Catholic schools in this area, but I will have a link down below if you are looking for Catholic schools. Let's go back to the map here. Let's look at the next area, which is not Fiddlesticks, but Shades Mill Conservation Area, which is a part of Fiddlesticks. So the benefit of living, of course, beside a conservation area is there's going to be no new development in that area. It's going to be fairly quiet. If you are living within the subdivision, you know that in the future, this will never get developed. Shades Mill, I used to go there as a young child back in the day. We did have a few field trips there. We learned a lot about the different plant species that are native to Cambridge, native to Ontario. So very interesting. They do have Shades Mill Beach. We had a ton of rain last week. So the beach was rather small compared to what it normally is. It's usually a much wider beach than it does within the images of this video. There's also beach volleyball courts. There's overnight camping within this area. Also within Shades Mill, it's rather safe. Fiddlesticks on the whole is a very safe neighborhood, very family friendly. We're talking double car, detached garaged homes built primarily in the 1980s, fairly wide lots. You do get the benefit of a wider lot with a relatively new home. We're talking 80s, which I think probably is the pinnacle in terms of construction quality without having the trade-off of being super old. I think that the 1980s is probably the best. You can see even in the new construction now, nothing wrong with new construction, but the lumber is young. It's young wood. It is not like the old stuff. The 80s was the last of the older wood. Looking at the real estate options within this neighborhood, we'll look at this one right here, which had 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, nearly 2,300 square feet above grade, built in 1987, with 60 foot wide at the front by 140 feet deep. Double car garage and parking for 5 cars in the driveway. Did need some work inside, but this one sold for $870,000. If you want something that's renovated, very similar to the last home, you can definitely spend just over $1 million. This one was renovated top to bottom with nearly 2,800 square feet above grade, built in 1991, 47 by 115 feet deep, with a double car garage. Now, when it comes to shopping, we'll go back to the map here. And shopping, we're gonna look at No Frills on the northern side. And then just west of No Frills, you do have Zehrs. So you have 2 great options. One, a little bit more cost effective. The other one, a little bit more expensive, maybe higher quality. In terms of schools, we're looking at Clemens Public School with a rating of 5, and Manchester Public School, which is kind of on the western side of this area, with a rating of 4.2. And finally, when it comes to high schools, we're looking at Galt Collegiate Institute with a rating of 5.9. If you're considering a move to Kitchener, Ontario, you might like this video coming up next.